Hey everyone, welcome to a vlog of mine. I didn't think I was going to be making a vlog today, but um and I don't know whether this is going to be a hot topic or not. I don't think so because it's something that should be talked about and it's not anything I would say that would push anybody's buttons the wrong way. So, here it goes. Um so there's talks about how we have about 11 years before uh, climate change will be will start happening. I think it's supposed to go up like 1.1 degrees in 11 years, and if we don't change how things are. So I'm kind of curious. Like, I want to do my part, and I feel like talking about it might get people. And I feel like if more people talk about it, and maybe the people that can actually do something will be like, hey, all these people are talking about it. Maybe we should actually do something instead of just talking about doing it. You know what I mean? And so I feel like making video like this, and hopefully other people will see this and then they'll make a video about it, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, and or and post it on like Twitter or Facebook or whatever, a Tumblr or whatever, Reddit. Then I kind of feel like it'll maybe maybe it'll help. I don't know how much, but maybe it'll help. I know some of it, people are like, well, how much is this going to cost? And other people are going to like, well, who the fuck cares, pardon my language, about the cost if it means that we don't permanently destroy our make a uh, have the climate change happen in 11 years. So I'm kind of curious on how that will work. Because I kind of feel like people in the 1950s didn't really know what they were doing. Because I kind of feel like if people were like they are now back then I don't think we would be having this conversation as much as we are now. Because if people actually recycled back in the 1950s, and I'm not saying they didn't, but like it was more common to just toss your garbage on the ground and no one would give a crap, or not as many people would give a crap. Whereas nowadays, if someone sees you throwing a glass bottle on the ground or can of whatever on the ground, most likely someone will say something or do something because of it. So I'm kind of curious in what life would be like if uh, back then people were recycling more, even if it wasn't to today's standards, in the way of like how people divide the organics stuff and the compost stuff and the recycling and the garbage and stuff like that. I kind of wonder how it would go, how our Earth would be now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I also feel like cutting all those trees down all over the world isn't really helping at all. I kind of feel like that is probably contributing a lot to our situation because the trees give us air to breathe, and if you cut them down, then we're not going to have as much air to breathe. And I forget whether it was a month ago or 2 months ago, but there was like fire in the rainforest or Amazon or something like that, and people didn't start talking about it until like 3 weeks later or months later. I can't remember. I think it was 3 weeks, but and people aren't really caring as much about that as they care about other things, uh, like buildings that are old buildings. Like, don't get me wrong, old buildings are somewhat important because of our history and stuff, but I kind of feel like people living is a little bit more important than uh, some old church or something from Paris or whatever it was, in my opinion at least. I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels, but I kind of feel like the more reusable stuff that we you have on a daily basis, then maybe would have a better Earth. I do also feel like there are other parts of the world that aren't contributing as much as they should be, and the reason why I'm not naming any places is because I'm not. I wouldn't say I would be an expert. I'm far from it. Like, I would be a noob if you would have to name it, to be honest, because well, I'm I'm new to this. I don't get me wrong. I do recycle. I do throw out my garbage, but problem is that uh, places like well, I feel like places like whether they're fast food or regular restaurants or grocery stores or other places or other malls or whatever, they're not recycled properly because people throw out garbage in recycling, and because of that, it's the garbage and the recycling are getting mixed, and also because of that, I feel like people aren't caring as much about this, and so I kind of feel like we should be probably putting a little bit more money into that type of stuff. Also, I kind of feel like uh, what's it called that train or subway thing, Metro Tricks or something like that. How they just started 4 years ago, and or about 4 years ago, and they're run on gas, and now all of a sudden they're running on electricity. Even though if or they're gonna try to start, they're gonna change everything to electricity, and supposedly this is gonna cost the people who live in the area, which I don't really remember whether it was in Toronto or somewhere else in Canada, but it's gonna cost like I think it's like $1 billion or $1 trillion or something like that. I think it's more like $1 billion, and I'm also thinking, well, how much is this gonna cost us? Like, how much is it gonna cost the taxpayers? And like, how much is this gonna hike up taxes wherever, and how is this going to affect the people that are just like struggling by to get on um, a foothold of how to survive and stuff like that. So, anyways, that's my little spiel about climate change and how it can affect it may affect people economically, or I hope economically means money wise. So yeah, let me know. Actually, you know what? Don't let me know in the comments below. What I want you to do is I want you to make a video about climate change and what you want people in the government and the people that can actually do something to do. Because I feel like uh, a girl going to the summit, a UN summit, to talk about climate change, even though it brought an I feel like it still isn't enough, unfortunately, and it's never going to be enough because of certain places in the world that don't really believe in climate change, even though if you actually just Google it, you can see how it is actually affecting our world that we live in. So, and people are already talking about possibly living on Mars, which is kind of weird and funny to think about because nobody would be thinking about this back in the 90s. But nowadays, it's like a common thing to be thinking about or to hear over the TV or anywhere, pretty much. So, anyways, whenever you watch this, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and see you all tomorrow at some point. Bye.